Welcome back to the Better Man Show. I'm your host, John Matuz, and I'm here with my coach number one, Al Morentin. And so, yeah, we just finished the 21-day reset a couple of weeks ago, or maybe about a week ago. And so, Al, I brought him on again to talk about all the other things that Al does, because this whole nutrition and 21-day reset thing he did with me and the workout he gave me, we're just scratching the surface on what Al is all about. And like I said before, I've known Al since we were kids. We went to high school together, and looking back, we were hanging out. I don't even know. They're probably hanging out in the park or something one night. And he just had this really serious look on his face. And we were talking, and he was recounting a story that he had when he was 12 years old. He was with his eye doctor, and his doctor tells this to a 12-year-old kid that, hey, man, look, by the time you're 30 years old, your vision is going to start breaking up. And by the time you're 35, you're going to need a seeing eye dog and a walking stick and the whole bit. He's telling this to a 12-year-old kid, right? So here we are, 16 years old, and Al's like, this guy told me I'm going blind, and I'm not going to, there's no way I'm not going blind. I'm going to find a way. And believe it or not, Al did,
Yeah.
I get emotional about this stuff, but on his way of finding, the cure for his issue that he had, he found, 100 other ways to help people with all sorts of other issues. And so I'm going to let Al tell the story because I'll just mess it up. But, this guy has helped thousands of people with tons of different issues, not just, weight and fitness and nutrition, but, with illnesses that I'll just let Al talk. Go ahead, Al. You tell us the story.
Right on, John. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you for that intro too, and congratulations on the results that you got. You got awesome results, and you could see them, just right by looking at you. It's very cool. But yeah, so as John mentioned, in the very first episode that I came on, he mentioned that I got into health and wellness because of my mother, and pretty much since the day I was born, almost. But yeah, when I was in 6th grade, I was told I had glaucoma, was going to most likely go blind one day, and so it did set me on a path of just searching and helping people. I've always been into fitness, competitive power lifter. I won nationals twice and got 2nd place in the worlds. Throughout my fitness and health career, but along the way, I was always interested in alternative and holistic health. Getting healthy naturally, and I developed some programs. In the pretty much the late '90s. And then into the early 2000s, we refined them into what's now known as the 21-day reset and AWOL, a way of life. And we just started helping a bunch of people to overcome conditions. And it was almost, like I was trying to find out how to help myself, right? With my vision. And I was, just had all these different people coming to me for all these different conditions. And I initially opened up a fitness, brick and mortar establishment, and more people started coming to me because they had issues, because they were doing my programs and overcoming their issues, like coming off of medications, and word got to spread about that. And I just started doing case studies and figuring out how to help people just through nutrition to overcome all kinds of different things, like on the mental side, like anxiety, stress, depression, panic attacks, and then, help to alleviate that kind of stuff. Like people come off of medications when they've been on them for decades for those things. And then also increasing confidence, clarity, mental recall, and, on the mental side, and then helping people with all kinds of conditions, from cancer to diabetes to heart disease, all the way down, to chronic pain and recovering from surgery and injury. So I was able to help thousands and thousands of people, but I wasn't able to help myself, and it was almost like a cruel joke. And from the age of 30, when I was actually told, like, your glaucoma is active, you're going to go blind soon, I just went on a mission, and it took me 17 years, right, so the age of 47, to figure out how to stop myself from going blind. And it was getting pretty close at that time. I was just seeing foggy and shadows, and when I finally figured it out, and that set me on just this path, because what helped me out personally was cannabis oils, and I started experimenting with that, added that into the mix, and we have an endocannabinoid system that needs to be fed with cannabinoids. We have an actual system, and it's responsible for balancing other systems. So it was a missing link for myself, and then for many, many other people. And when I introduced that, I introduced it into the 21-day reset, and then introduced it into the AWOL, a way of life program, and just started selling it to the public. It took me a few years of doing case studies and perfecting, the milligram strengths to sell and all that kind of stuff. And because we did it early on, before it was actually legal in California. And but we just saw so much value in what it was doing, and it was awesome. So what it allowed people to do was to not be as strict and stringent on their diet, but still get amazing results, even better than they were before, right? So before you had to be like not just 100% on your diet, but like 1,000%. Like if you sneezed wrong, then you could go backwards. But when we added in the cannabinoids, CBD, whatever, then it just changed the game where people could be more like 90%, on, and they could fall off here and there, but as long as they were about 90% good on their eating regimen and their supplementation, and they were doing the cannabinoids and being persistent and consistent with their efforts, with the supplementation of both the cannabinoids and their other supplements, then um, like the results just skyrocketed as far as the number of people that were getting results, and the long lasting results, and the ease with which they are doing it. It's super awesome. And even went out to pets and everything too. So we help pets as well. But yeah, we just help people to. I consider myself a lifestyle optimization specialist, right? Because and they help people to function better and just be able to attack life. Like get up off the sidelines and back in the game of life. That's sort of like one of the taglines we have. And
Yeah,
so you're no longer like using life as a spectator sport. You're a participant in there. And but when I started really going blind, and then I eventually did go blind at one point, and I was able to get my vision back, and that was so ultra depressing. Like it, when you have a heart condition, anything, cancer, anything, it's very, very depressing. You get anxiety, it's stressful, all this kind of stuff. And life isn't really worth living at that point, to a lot of people to have that, so the relatives, they want you to live, then they do everything they can to help you. But for the person that has those afflictions, even things like glaucoma, when you are going blind, life isn't worth living. And so I developed this, other tagline called "A Life Worth Living," and that's when I had Movida, and so My Fit Life is the original company, and it helped people just to excel, with who they were. But with the hardcore conditions, I needed more from what My Fit Life was offering. And when I found the cannabinoids, that was the missing link, like literally the missing link to everything for myself and others. So I needed more than My Fit Life can give me. So and my extraction company is called Movida, and it stands for Spanglish. It's more life, basically. Because I needed more out of what my other company was giving me, and in order for me to enjoy and be able to attack my life, to have an optimal life for myself, and to have a life worth living. And that was back in 2016 when I came up with that little tagline, and that's when we started selling to the public. The first time we sold, we sold out. And I believe you were there. It was that talk in Orange County. Remember at that natural food store,
yeah.
that
So
restaurant, that vegetarian restaurant.
yeah, so I want to add something to this because I was there when you were going through all this stuff, right? And it was kind of like this roller coaster for you because it was like, yeah, man, I found the cure. I got my eyesight back, right? And everything was happy, everything was awesome. And then your vision started breaking up again. And I was like, Al, you found like you did something, right? This is awesome. And you're like, no, bullshit, man. Something wrong's going on here. And you found out what was going on. There was a guy that wasn't following your formulations to the T that you laid out, and you found that guy and you straightened him out and got rid of him and got your eyesight back. So I remember your eyesight was like breaking up in chunks, different corners of your vision. And I was there with you going through that. And then, somebody delivered something to your house that didn't show up, and you had to go to Colorado and drive up there blind to get, you went through hell. And, we're saying that, I'm kind of like a lab test for you guys, for the coaches, but man, the stuff I saw you go through, like in all the migraines that you used to deal with. And then when you figured out how to fix that too, and all these things were like crystallizing and coming out of your skin. And it was crazy. You actually, you cracked the code. All this crap that, doctors are trying to push on people has no, it doesn't compare to what you actually had stuff going on. Like there was stuff growing out of your skull, right? And you were having migraines since you were like 5 years old. And now you rarely have them, when you were having them like almost every day. So, you're doing like amazing stuff that, pharmaceutical companies aren't doing. You're really helping people, and that's awesome.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, so people, like you have to make things right. Like John was saying, and these guys started like basically overcooking, like the extraction and the formulation, and the therapeutic value was gone, and from the cannabis oils. But like there's ones that don't get you high and ones that do get you high, and I was doing the ones that do get you high, so I was still getting high, but I was losing my vision, and I thought that I was done, but it was just that, and I was able to figure that out, get rid of them, and take over the extraction process, and make it better and everything. But and at that point is when when I discovered like the macro dosing and things like that, and doing like a full frontal assault on conditions just to overcome them, and just get them out of you, and then do maintenance doses afterwards to maintain those results so it doesn't come back and everything. And during that time is what John was talking about. Is I have glaucoma, which is all up here, and then I had migraines that go along with it. And there was all kind. My head used to even be bigger. It was like swollen. There was all this calcification and crystallization up in there, and I was taking massive doses, and I started getting like lumps here. Like I looked like a Star Trek character for a little bit. Like it was like all thick and swollen, and then it started getting scabby, and then like stuff started oozing out of it. There was like this clear fluid, and it looked like somebody grabbed my forehead and just rubbed it against asphalt, and it was just like a big like scab almost all the way across. And I'd go order food, and I wouldn't cover it up because I didn't want to do anything, and people were just like, "What's wrong?" Like, and everybody, and even practitioners that I know, because I'm around them all the time, they would say, "You need to go to the doctor. You need to have them stop this." And I'm like, "No, good is happening. Like things are being broken down, and I'm being restructured." And they're like, "No, like something bad is going on. You need to fix yourself. You're gonna die." But I feel good. And like when that started happening, the migraines stopped, and I was at that point, I was having them, like John said, almost every day. And I was like, if I don't have a migraine, I know I'm getting better. So I don't care what's going on up here. I don't care how gross it looks or anything. Um, I'm going to keep on going. And I did. I did nightclubs. Like I did this thing about Movie the Nights just for community, and bringing people together, that are in the My Fit Life community and Movie the community. And I have like film of that with me, this stuff oozing out of my forehead, greeting the customers and everything. And it was gross, but I just went through it, and I literally went 684 days without a migraine.
Yeah,
You know?
after having them every day since you were like 5 years old. I mean, I
Yeah.
remember that, man, because I saw you and I was like, oh my God, hey, whatever Al says, I'm with him, right? I knew you were gonna be okay. But I could see everyone around just going, oh crap, he's gonna die, man. There's something coming out of it. He's got some kind of disease. But you fixed whatever he had going on. And the fact that your vision, you still have it and you can still drive. And I think you're the only person in the whole world that's ever had any type of success versus glaucoma. I know people that get like literal shots in their eyes and do all these horrible things, and they're still degenerating. They're still falling apart. They're still going blind. And you took your formulations and you can still see. And it's been what, like 12 years or something since we figured that out? Or you
Yeah,
figured
yeah,
that out, not me. I
definitely.
keep saying we, but I had nothing to do with it. You're all the way. And another thing with you, Al, is you do everything the right way. I mean, even like with your bottles, right? This glass, you get it from Germany because it's some special color that you researched that doesn't let your stuff degrade or fall apart. The syringes that you store your other stuff in is all glass. I mean, you move to a dry environment so that when you package your stuff, you don't have to use any fillers to run it through your machine. I mean, you do everything right. And that's what everyone should do with everything what they do in life, is do it the right way, right?
Yeah. Yep. It's just like we learned when we were young. It's a commitment to excellence, and never falter, never fail. And I've seen so many companies, because I've been, like I said, and since I was born basically. So like in third grade, I was, my mom was making me special foods, and I was taking these special supplements. I would go to school before and jog around the track, and in third grade, I was a nut. And I would see companies like that were good, and then they'd either change their formulations because they were making more money, and they had to go to co-packers, or they would get bought out by bigger companies, and they would become bastardized. And either way, they would lose their soul somewhere along the line.
Right.
Either sell it or do it themselves. And I told myself I was never going to do that, and I never let myself. So in all the years since 1987, since we've had the company, and I have to live like that too, because like you said, I'm patient zero, right? So one thing I didn't mention is that if I stop taking my oils and supplements, I go blind in less than a week. So I still can go blind. It's not a cure kind of a thing. It's just I'm giving myself things that I'm lacking, but if I stop taking them, then I will go blind, and very quickly. So I depend as much on the stuff as much as anybody else that purchases from us. And it's so I have to have the most pristine material on the planet. And then I've had relationships with these growers and with people that formulate and do, and with not just with the cannabis, but with everything, even the Shilajit. I have the relationship with a guy in Pakistan that lives up in the Himalayas that he personally extracts it at 18,000 foot level, all that stuff. Like sun dries it, like all the ways that I would do it. And
Right.
and they know what's going on with me, so they'll give me the best. The farmers, they'll let me have first pick at everything, because we want you to keep your eyesight, because you help too many people. So it's sort of a cool thing, because people that they have developed for lack of a better term, compassion for my situation, and I'm able to like cherry pick the best of the best material before anybody else does. It's
Yeah,
really
what's great
cool.
about that too is that people that are in your same industry that may be doing like a version of what you're doing, when it comes down to it, and they really need like high quality stuff, or if they have a sick relative or a loved one, they use your stuff. So I mean that says a lot. I mean, you're the man in that industry, and you're doing
Like
stuff with.
some of the biggest cannabis growers and extraction companies in Humboldt, in California, which is the place, that they buy for themselves. The owners buy for themselves and for their parents. Like the guy that owns the biggest cannabis and CBD advertising agency in the world and has the biggest community like group in the world with over 17,000 members, he buys from me for himself and his wife and his parents. And then we have like over 24 CBD brand owners that buy for themselves and their parents, and some for their kids too that have like autism and stuff.
Yeah, so I mean, I went to a couple of events where you were speaking. You were like a guest speaker at some things, and people just from out of nowhere would stand up in the crowd with a bag full of pills, right? That say, hey, I don't have to take this crap anymore. 30 different bottles of stuff, and now they're just taking your stuff. They got off all of that medicine, thyroid medicine, high blood pressure medicine, diabetes medicine. I mean, you help so many people, but no one, we got to get more people involved. I want everyone to know about Al Morentin.
Right on. Thank you, John. Yeah, and it's very cool. And people, there are like there's thousands of people that have come off their medications completely off, and they different ways, but they usually get weaned off of them. And it's not me saying, hey, don't take that stuff, just take my stuff. Like it's doctor approved. Like they go to their doctor and like, hey, my doctor said I don't need this anymore. One of the most drastic cases was this lady, woman Yanni in Long Beach, California. And she worked for Apple, developed cancer from some working on the mainframes. She was really short, and she got breast cancer. And Apple, they went to court, and Apple actually pays for all her medical bills and everything. So she has free access to all medical stuff. And she was on 42 different medications. They used her as a lab rat basically. And she found cannabis, and she was doing okay, but she was still on all the medications. And then she found my story, and she came to me, because Movida was founded in Long Beach. So she came to me and said, hey, she had become a cannabis caregiver at this time, helping other people with cancer. And she started taking our stuff. And long story short, she was able to come off all 42 medications. And she's on Movida, the cannabis oils, and some herbs, and Shilajit and MSM. It's like her
simple,
life
right?
is completely changed.
Yeah, and then that one story that some lady stood up and said that she had some type of cancer. I forgot which kind, but she was at one of your gatherings, and basically the doctor said, just go home. There's nothing I can do for you. You just spend time with your family. And then a year and a half later, she went to the same doctor with her daughter for something unrelated. And he's like, "Who are you?" She goes, "I'm the lady you said to go home and die, and you fixed her up too." So
yeah.
So the things you do it's just great.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, because that woman, she came to like the first time I met her, she went to it was like a CrossFit kind of a gym I was doing a presentation at in Cypress, California, and she had the scarf on her head, and she had her friend with her that drove her there, and the doctor had sent her home with 2 months to live. Said, take care of your affairs. We can't do surgery, chemo, nothing for you. There's nothing we can do. No medications. You're off everything. It's just cold turkey. And she goes, I watched all your videos, but at that time there was over 100 videos. I know you could help me. I know you could help me. And she was so positive, and I guess me choked up. But and I was like, I'll do my best and everything. But yeah, she reacted really well to it. She followed the protocols to a T, and she like I got a email from her friend that had taken her there probably about a year ago now, and she said, like 5 years ago, I took my friend Patty to go see you, and she was given a death sentence, and you helped her, and I want to just thank you for that because you gave me back my friend, you know. And we're able to go do stuff, go have fun. She's not just existing, she's
Right.
living life and having fun. And I want to thank you for that,
That's awesome.
And it was like, whoa, hearing stories like that makes, doesn't, like it makes your job, worthwhile. It's
Yeah, and it's what's great too is that you're just not, you don't just have a website where it says, order this, order that. You actually talk to these people and say, look, this is what we're going to do. This is what you're going to take, and this is how much you're going to take. And then, call me in a month and, we'll adjust or just keep doing what we're doing. It isn't just like order this off of a, no name website that they have access to you. And
yeah. Like I said, I've developed protocols for all kinds of different conditions, and then we do free consultations, not just to let you know what product to get, but to actually develop a protocol to overcome the condition. And then we do checkups for free, which usually, like if we go to a naturopath, which doesn't really know what they're talking about most of the time, it's like a few $100 per visit. We do that for free for our customers, just to make sure that they're taking our product right, so they could overcome their situation. And then when it comes time, we help them go into a maintenance phase, to lower their dosage and maintain the results. And that's all just part of the being part of our community, because we want people to get success for sure.
yeah, and not even just with illnesses, but even just like self-induced stuff. Like you and I have a classmate that was working with you that had a high stress job. He was taking pain meds because he's on his feet a lot and just dealing with, all the young bulls coming up trying to knock him off the hill and all the stress that went along with that, smoking, drinking, all that stuff, and just trying to survive in his position. And he finally came to you and you turned him into a new man, right? I mean, so it's not just people with like illnesses like diabetes and cancer, but, if you got a kind of a rough lifestyle and you want to, change that and be, like you said, you live at your optimal level, you're great at helping people reach those goals as well.
Yep, definitely. And it's one of those things that I like to call it like the executive secret weapon, because a lot of executives, they'll do a lot of different things because they have the resources, the financial resources to go do whatever they want to. So and they hear all these things, and it's just sort of trendy. They try a bunch of fads, and even like nootropics, things like keep you on your mental game and more alert and clarity and all that stuff. And it's not really. What I found is that's not really necessary. Like the cannabinoids and the MSM and the Shilajit, that triple that trio right there, that's a nootropic killer, and it's what I call, like I said, the executive secret weapon, because it helps to stave off like things like that anxiety, stress, and depression. And people that are in executive levels, they don't like to say they have anxiety or depression, but they do say they have stress. And stress causes the other, right?
Right.
But it also increases confidence, clarity, mental recall. I mean, you even know firsthand yourself. You do a few drops just before a phone call, a serious phone call, and you're smooth. Like that person won't affect you. You'll just get through it and have a positive outcome.
Oh yeah, I keep a bottle of your drops in my car because I know if I'm going to go into a crap meeting and it's just going to be hell, I'll just take the eyedropper and take a little bit, put it under my tongue, and walk in there and get through it. Right?
Yeah.
It helps. It really it takes the sting off of a bad situation. And I don't think I've really ever had a bad meeting when I'm calm. And the meetings that ever bad are the ones you walk in and they're confrontational, right? The ones where you just walk in and say, "Look, I'm going to solve your problems. Just let me take care of it." Those are the best.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely.
Well, good, man. So, I just want to say thank you. Right.
Right on. Yeah, John. Yeah, and thank you for having me on the show and allowing me to to help you to get to the other side. As I say, like you did a super awesome job with the 21-day reset, and you're a great example. You did it live too, which takes a lot of balls. But you got the results, and they're undeniable, and that's what happens. It's John doesn't have like a special disposition to where he got that those results. They were just 21 days, and the proof was in the pudding because of the recordings, And that's what happens to people, though. As I mentioned right before he started it, I could tell when people are doing it or not because of the results they get. And it just has to do with feeding your body the proper nutrition, because your body will react to it a certain way, and you'll actually be able to get better. So that's one of the things that I want to get your audience psyched up about, is that there is hope for everybody, to have a more optimal life, and you can do it naturally, and that is the more preferred way to do it. Just the way that John's approaching it is perfect.
Yeah, so I mean, I get compliments at work now, because I what I do is I manage a bunch of education and government accounts. So I probably have 4 to 7 meetings a day, and everyone's noticed a change. So I got compliments there. We just had our 40-year reunion 2 days ago, and a lot of people said, they're watching the show, but they also could tell that, hey, wow, okay, that works, right? So you're probably gonna have a bunch of people calling you to get on that program. But I'm just telling you, if you're gonna do this, have the right mental view going into this thing, and just know that it's going to work. And like we say, it might not be easy, but it's simple. Just follow the rules. 21 days, you can stand on your head for 21 days, just get through it and then go to the next step. And, so that's what we're going to talk about now, Al. So I did your program. We've been talking for, about a month now, a little more than a month. And so we're going to bring our next coach in. Her name is Michelle Wilson. So our next show on with me, we're going to kind of hear her bio. And the way I know her is that her husband and her used to own a like a supplement store that was on top of Uptown Gym in Whittier, right? The famous, powerlifting gym up in the Whittier area where we used to work out. Yep. And her husband actually was the starting linebacker at St. Paul High School when my kids were freshmen, just starting football. So I got to see him play. And then he's the nephew of Coach Omedo, or the cousin of Coach Omedo. So we kind of have that connection, right? So great people, great person. I'm excited about her, but like her style's a little different. She's more into bodybuilding, and I'm going to be eating she's like one of those 5 meal a day kind of people. So mentally that freaks me out, because back when I was cutting weight, I would eat an apple in the morning and a hamburger patty at night, and drink 2 gallons of water. So we're going to see how that affects me mentally and how it affects me physically too. So, but anyway, we'll introduce her next week, and I'm excited, man. We got our first step. Now we're going to take the second step to the next coach, and I'm glad you're here with me, Al. So thanks for everything.
You're welcome. Yeah. So basically, challenge number 1 is complete and successful. Yeah. Yep. And then we got to hand you off to the next challenge. That's super exciting. Awesome, John.
Yeah, it's going to be great, man. So, and then next week I'm going on a rafting trip too. So I'm going to film some of that. We'll put some little action shots on the show so people can see what we're up to. And so it's going to be fun.
That sounds awesome.
All right. Well, this wraps up this episode of the Better Man Show. Again, Al, thank you. And thanks for everyone watching. Tell your family and friends, and we'll see you next week.